Showtime?
Oh my! Are we actually live?
Yo, we live. We live. We back, man. It's Market Monday.
Yeah.
It's October 23rd. It's 8 p.m. Like we live. What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling, man?
Good. How y'all feeling?
We feeling good, man. East Chicago's own Ian Dunlap, the master investor himself. Congratulations on a masterful performance last night in Chicago. Shout out to the whole city of Chicago for showing up and showing love. It was a night to be remembered, man. Shotty had a monologue of the year. Yep. You know, I got to add a few things to the conversation.
No. You dropped a bomb.
A few things to the conversation, and I think everybody walked away with information, man, which is the most important thing. But actionable items. Keys lit up the stage. Rashana Scott was on fire.
Yeah, she killed it.
My brother Ross Mack, he had his Maconomics going. It was dope, man. Chicago, a special place. I'm glad that we added that to the tour because from the reviews, they're saying this might be the one.
This might
be the one.
Hometown hero. Like listen, when Troy told me what he was going to talk about, and we know we're not going to talk about it on the show, you should have came. But man, that was a hell of a gem. And I think I'll kind of bully Rashad into talking about the multimedia empire real quick. He was gonna go a different route. I was like, nah, let's give him something else. So I appreciate everybody who was there. Yeah, kudos to all my family, everybody in Red Panda. But yeah, I think this is probably one of our best shows.
Yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to Mike. I know he's behind the cameras and he's here tonight, helping us produce the show. Shout out to AB for putting on a different notch on the resume, man. This dude did the entire event planning. Him and Pierre, they did an incredible job. Shout out to Ty, who was captioning it for us. It was incredible, man. Shout out to your family, Ian. Everybody was there. Your cousins was there.
Yeah,
that was dope to see them enjoying you. Like it was like the first time they were watching you in this space, right? They were looking at like, yo, Ian, you a superstar.
That's put on, man. Yeah, everyone was like, you're more relaxed than ever. I'm like, I'm at home. Like, it's an amazing thing just to like be around people who like know me from the very beginning, family who's seen my journey. So like, I just wanted to put on a great show, and them being there made it a better show for me. Seriously,
dope
for sure. So yeah, we are live. This is we haven't gone live in a long time. So.
And if y'all don't get to 10,000 likes, we won't go live again. Hit the like button. I'm doing my shiny today. Hit the like button.
Earn your nights.
That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. Yeah. How's the sound? How's the audio sound, ladies and gentlemen? How do we sound on the audio? Let us know in chat. Everybody that's been asking for us to go live, we are live.
Here we are.
We are live in the flesh. Fresh off tour. Yeah, okay. The audio's clear. Okay, good. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Shout out to Chicago, legendary run out there in the Midwest. We are headed to Ghana.
Yes.
Very important. December 27th, all roads lead to Ghana. That is the last and final show in the Market Mondays World Tour. It's been a hell of a show run. We went to California. We went to London, went to Toronto, Chicago, and we're going to end the year in Ghana. Legendary for sure. So get your tickets now. That's the main focus now for us leading into the end of the year. Get your tickets December 27th in Accra, Ghana.
Yes.
Legendary. Treehouse. We're going to be poolside with it.
Yeah,
vibes, like luxurious, highest level of luxury that you'll ever be able to imagine. Finest fabrics that you'll ever see.
Wakanda Forever Energy.
That's a fact.
Come on, I can't wait.
That's a fact.
Finest fabrics.
That's a fact, man.
Did I forget to shout out Mike B? Shout out to Mike B. He went 3 for 3 last night.
Absolutely.
For sure.
The main event showstopper.
Yeah.
For sure. Tomorrow for Earn Your Leisure, we got a big one. We got the boy Damon John. Shout out to Damon John, legend.
I heard this was a great one.
Yeah, for sure. biggest shark on Shark Tank. You know, he actually has the record for Shark Tank for closing the biggest deal as far as the company, the most profitable company.
Really?
Yep.
It's a sock brand. So yeah, Damon John, our second shark off Shark Tank. Of course, we have Mark Cuban. So now we got Damon John. We're taking the sharks off of Shark Tank one by one. So legendary entrepreneur for our community. And I'm gonna talk about this Jay-Z thing too, but I'll talk about that later
Yeah,
on.
it's time to get into it. Like we gotta have. What's a
talk about
couple
that
things
later
we
on.
gotta clear tonight?
Buy my old albums, huh?
It's a few things. It's a lot of things that's happening out here.
Buy my old albums.
It's a lot of things that's happening out here.
Yep.
So yeah, okay, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
That's one.
Tap in.
That's one of them. We said that, and I was really like passionate about the Van Jones episode, and I'm glad that people have been receiving that so well. This is another one of them ones, another classic. 2 years, almost 3 years in the making, man. So I'm happy we got to get it done. And he's got some dope stuff going on up in Harlem, which he's going to be talking about Entrepreneurs Day, which is a huge thing. And shout out to everybody that participated in that. I saw Angela Yee was in there, Cedric the Entertainer, they had Shaq there. So shout out to Damon John. Make sure y'all tap in, go support that.
All right.
Should they use the hashtag vanilla extract or no?
Vanilla extract.
Watch the episode. You're going to learn some new things.
Legendary
Yo, that was crazy.
Like,
legendary pause.
Oh man, you saw that clip already?
No, Yomi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She was like, "Listen, when you hear it, I was like,
yeah.
Your vanilla bean, whatever." Shout out to Yomi. I was like,
we'll save that for another time.
Yeah.
Where's the Lauren London interview? It's in the sky. It's in the sky, man. That was one of those moments. Everything can't be released on the internet. That just has to live in the hearts and minds of the few people that was actually there. Shout out to Revolt. That was a legendary situation. Shout out to Lauren. You'll probably never see that one. Just go be honest.
I was like, "You're transparent tonight, boy." Ooh. Locked in the Disney vault, ain't it?
It was incredible. Trust me. Take my word for it.
It's up there with Bobby Smurder's hat. Chew it up.
Gone. Never to be
Hasn't
seen
come
again.
back down ever since. Can we let the people know about the disclaimer?
Man, you know how this works. Do your own research, folks. Do your own research. And we talked about research last night. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Please continue to do the research. Share the research when it's good. Give credit to those that you heard it from. Love is love. Spread information, spread joy. Let's do all that.
Ian, any thing you want to say?
Yes. Stock Club call will be Sunday at 3 p.m. Central. I need time to rest, be able to kick it with my family. So Sunday at 3 p.m. Central. I will be going over part of the presentation that I did in Chicago. If you are not a Red Panda and you want to get it, you must join Red Panda. Otherwise, I will never share the information in public. Thank you to everyone who showed up last night. Ty, Bryn, P, Dom, Frenchie, Mom, Dad, all of my family, all of my friends, all of Chicago. Shout out to the Midwest, 219 Love. I love y'all dearly. Y'all can also catch me at Black Wealth Summit with Cedric Nash this Saturday in Maryland. So get your tickets. We all had a chance to kick it at A3C. I know you guys know Say It very well, so I'm looking forward to that. I got an announcement. And then JP Morgan. Shout out to my JP Morgan family. November 4th, I have an event with them. And if I made you money, please put yes in chat. We are not them. See, when they get coverage on Good Morning America, it's for great reasons. You know what I'm saying? It hit different when you do honorable business. Hey, boy, put up a house yet. Go get a Monopoly board since you made everything. Shout out to Ally.
Shout out to the wonderful Ally. Our partners on the Market Mondays tour.
Boy.
Do your research.
Like when you got the car on the Monopoly board, the purpose was to get the houses, right?
Houses to the hotel, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He playing reverse Monopoly. It's a Ponzi. Let's get to the show.
That's crazy.
Boy, if I've made you money, please put yes in chat. If you don't see a preponderance of evidence of people talking and saying that, stay away. Please stay away.
Preponderance. Great word.
Yeah.
Great word.
For sure. For sure.
So
Rashad, one little shot. Pop, pop. Cool.
Yes,
I'm ready.
yes. I'm actually moderating a panel too this Friday. For the African American men of Westchester.
nice.
Oh, that's
go
fine.
to the aamw.com to get details. But I'm moderating a panel with
You've been doing that for a long time, man.
The first time I actually moderated a panel for them.
You did the Olympics with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So real estate.
We gotta get to it.
Let's get to some real estate, shall we? Not that type of real estate, actual real estate.
Me and Shadi both gonna get in the mood one day. Boy, reveal a lot of secrets, boy. But not
Ownership of real estate.
Let's talk about real estate, shall we? So the Wall Street Journal had an interesting article where they said that there's never been a worse time to buy instead of rent. So put a post up and the post just went crazy as soon as you put it up. That's obviously a very controversial title, right? Where they were saying that in this day and age, is 52% more costly to buy a home as opposed to rent. That's the highest gap since 1996. And that's obviously because of, higher interest rates and a variety of other factors. But they were saying that even, traditionally, you would think that would be beneficial for landlords. But that's not necessarily the case because landlords are struggling nationwide. And that is because of an oversupply of rental properties and rising vacancy predictions, amongst other things. So it was a very interesting, conversation that we was having online. And a lot of people, whenever you put those type of posts up, people kind of get mad and was like, no, it always makes sense to buy real estate. Like you always have to buy real estate. I even saw Ish from Joe Budden's podcast put up 5 question marks. So, people were
You counted them.
people always a little concerned about how can you question real estate? You can't question real estate. Yeah. It's like
question the terms.
Spitting that guy. Yeah. Get it in the face when he was over your head. Shout out to Jay.
I mean,
but
go ahead.
There's a variety of different factors that go into this situation. So without further ado, we brought an expert to talk about it. We're going to start this episode off right away. We're going to not waste any time. So
yes,
we are bringing on MG, the mortgage guy.
Friend to the show.
My brother, how you doing?
Family, what's going on, y'all?
Hey, Jizzle, what's going on, man?
My guys with another sold-out show in Chicago.
This is true. The rumors are true.
Yes. The rumors are true. The biggest ever.
Good to see you, man.
Always a pleasure, my brother. How are you, Ian?
Good.
So let's talk about this. All right. Real estate is something that everybody has been talking about for a long time, and obviously we know that that's something that's extremely important as far as building wealth and bridging the wealth gap and home equity, and it's a variety. Everybody knows why real estate is good at this point, right? Or can be good. But it's some disturbing times that we're living in. Stock market has corrected itself several different times over the last decade. Real estate has never really crashed since 2008. Real estate prices continue to go up, right? Even when the economy is slowing down, it has no signs of slowing down, or at least, fully crashing or pulling back. Even though people are not making as much money year over year, right? It's not like people are making tremendously more money. Yep. Inflation is a huge problem. Inflation's been going crazy. Interest rates have been going up. So at a certain point, it becomes hard to justify buying real estate, right? So I want to get your take on. I have my views on this, but I want to let you start the conversation, and then we'll just take it from there.
Yeah. First, thanks for having me on the show, guys. I really appreciate it. I really feel as if, look, I always say the same thing. Don't buy nothing you can't afford, right? And we are in inflationary times right now. There's no denying that. The store prices are crazy. Anything you look to buy is high right now. Real estate is one of those things that is going to continue to rise, in my opinion, because of simple supply and demand.
Yep.
There's not enough supply out there for even the little bit of demand that's out there right now. And there is still a lot of demand out there in the market, even with interest rates being at 8% right now for a 30-year conventional mortgage. And that's with an excellent credit score of 760, right? So we have this argument, and I saw your post, and the comments is just like, I mean, the comments are going crazy, and everybody's going to always have this debate. Well, should you buy? Should you rent? Well, you got to do something. If you rent, you're paying somebody's mortgage regardless. That's just how I look at it. So if you are going to pay somebody's rent, me personally, I'd rather you pay your or pay somebody's mortgage. I'd rather you pay your own mortgage and own the house. Now, obviously, you don't want to buy nothing that you can't afford. But if you can't afford it, I still think you should go out there and buy, but just make sure you're really focusing more on the deal in today's market, not really focused on too much of the interest rate, but you got to focus on the numbers. You got to focus on the deal. You always got to remember real estate is, especially a mortgage, you can always refinance a mortgage if you qualify at
If
some
you
point.
qualify.
As very important, Ian, if you qualify, right? Because a refinance is not a guarantee. It's not something that you could just walk into the bank and say, hey, rates are 5% right now, refinance my mortgage. No, you still have to go through a qualification process, but you always have to keep that in your back pocket. Today's 7-8% mortgage rate can easily be 4 or 5% when that market drops. Now, what I would tell everybody who's watching this, and I'll tell you guys this too, what do you think is going to happen when these rates do drop? A year from now, 2 years from now? What do you think is going to happen? Prices
Yeah.
prices are going to go just like this.
Go up.
They're going to skyrocket. So I think we're in a position right now, in all honesty, if you do not buy something right now while there is less competition in the market with higher interest rates, you could be priced out even worse than you are today in 2 to 3 years from now. So for me, I'm always going to encourage, especially Black and brown people, to go out there and buy real estate because our wealth is trapped in the real estate market.
They say we look like relatives, so I got to ask the question. What do you say to everyone who says you just say that because you're in the real estate industry?
Yeah, I get that all the time too, and I love that, right?
It's a question to be asked.
And it's a fair
Yeah.
question, right? Because people say I'm biased because I'm trying to make a commission. Well, guess what, guys? I'll make more money if the market does crash. So me telling you go out here and buy now, like either which way, it doesn't hurt a true professional like myself, someone who's been in this business for 20 plus years that has a book of business. I know how to make money in any of these type of markets, good market, bad market, left, right. My sole purpose of being on the internet is one, to provide leads for my mortgage business, obviously, but two, to provide information so that way our people don't get screwed over. And a lot of our people over the past 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years have been screwed over in the real estate space because no one has ever taught us how to buy homes. So I'm always going to be biased of home ownership, because not just because it's something that I do for a living, is because I see the benefits as a homeowner of owning your own home. It's nothing better than that.
MG, you talk about 2008, and it's something that you were in the business, right? You were navigating through that. There was a crash. Shadi brought up about that monthly mortgage payment being 52% higher. During that crash, at the time, that percentage was 33%. And so we're about 22% higher than that period of time. Is this where we're headed? There's going to be a correction. There's going to be a crash. Obviously, you said you're going to make money either way. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the person that was saying, yes, you should buy a home. As interest rates go higher, it becomes much harder to put down this 20% down payment. So it's kind of a dilemma, right? The interest rates are going up. I can't afford to it, so I might have to rent, but there might be a price point where I'm getting priced out in the event that there is a crash. There's a dilemma here that I'm not sure people are going to figure out how to navigate through.
So I'm glad you brought up 2008, and a lot of people like to bring that up, right? And try to compare statistics from that era to today. But you also can't forget that the mortgage industry was completely different than what it was today, right?
Yeah.
People, if you had a pulse back then, you can get a mortgage. Now you're getting fully underwritten. So it's a different synopsis, right? Then also you got to look at the inventory from 2007, 2008, 2009. At any given one of those years, you had over 10, 11 months of supply on the market. You had 2 to 4 million foreclosures happening every single year, right? We don't have those type of situations in today's market. So the underlying factors are completely different if you're looking at 2008 housing market compared to 2023 housing market is completely different. Now, when you talk about income, people being able, like the inflation times, yeah, this is a completely different story, right? I don't think we've ever been through this at this level in our country where prices have rose this fast just for everything that you're looking to buy, no matter what it is, right? So I guess only time would tell what's really going to happen once that really starts kicking in and really kind of hurting people more than what is hurting them now. But I think, me personally, we're not going to see a huge flux of inventory hit the market because most of the mortgages right now, I think 70% of all mortgages are below 4% interest rate. Those folks are not rushing to sell their
Yeah,
property.
they're not going to sell.
Yeah.
Why would they not?
Sell.
I was going to say, is that the silver lining in all this, right? I was looking at the statistic. It's 80% of the outstanding U.S. mortgage debt is under 5%.
Under 5%, yep.
So that means that you have a large population of people that have a pretty good mortgage rate, and they just are going to sit there and not do anything.
Yeah, but also look at this too. You have 50%, I think it's like 50% of all mortgages have at least 50% of equity in the property too, right? So now you have low rates, top with most of Americans, majority of them have 50, 40, 30% equity in their homes, and home prices are still going up this year, 2 to 4, 5%, just depending on what the market is. No, we're not going to see 20, 25% appreciation year over year like we've seen during the pandemic years, but appreciation is still appreciation regardless. So you have these underlying factors that we didn't have in 2008. Folks didn't have, all of this equity in their homes back in those days. And then again, the most important factor is the qualification of yesterday's borrower compared to today's borrower. Today's borrower is being vetted and being underwritten more thoroughly. There's more rules, there's more regulations to protect the homeowners. There's more modification programs that are out there in today's market that wasn't even in existence until the market crashed, and these programs had to be created to save people from losing their homes. Everybody got to realize the banks are not in the real estate business. They're in the lending business. They don't want to own your home. So they're going to do whatever it takes
BlackRock does,
to
though.
their homes.
If we can have an honest conversation,
Yeah, let's be real.
BlackRock is causing a lot of this inflation and pricing us out of the market. Like, here's an amazing concept. Let me ruin a housing market from 2002 to 2006 with all the ninja loans. The White House has to call me in to fix it, and then all of a sudden I'll change all of the modifications. So now I have a better book of buyers. When I say that I want to be the biggest landlord in the world, I can make sure that those loans are favorable as I'm pricing everybody out.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the institutional investors. They're all killing this market right now. Look at all how they buying properties sight unseen, right?
Yeah.
Look at the Zillows of the world and all these different corporations that were buying all these single families over the past couple of years, even before it started really getting a lot of news play. If you look at even 17, 18, 19, the institutional investors have been buying up real estate for a very long time, driving up prices. It's just now when the rates dropped, everybody started really getting, and the pandemic obviously helped everybody's attention. You ain't got nothing to do, you home, right? You're paying attention now. But this is not nothing new, Ian. Like, we all know this. Institutional investors are always going to continue to invest. Their job is to make money, period, point blank. And the housing market is up for grabs. So they're going to continue to invest. And this is why, for me, I don't really see a crash happening. I don't really see, I see a correction still going to happen.
Correction has to happen,
right?
yeah.
It's definitely, and what goes up has to come down at some point, right?
Matt,
And
Hold on, let me ask.
Yeah,
I just want to ask a question. So, Matt, but here's the thing, Matt.
Come on, Scotty.
go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah, let's get to it.
I can tell how he started, Ian.
So all right. So I did some research, right? So you have a few cities like Syracuse, New York, where 60% of the homes were sold over asking. Buffalo, New York, 60% of the homes sold over asking. Aurora, Illinois, 67% of the homes sold over asking. Oakland, California, 64% of the homes sold over asking. Pomona, California, 76% of homes sold over asking. Worcester, Massachusetts, 76% of homes sold over asking. Lubbock, Texas,
shout out to Texas.
100% of homes sold over asking price. Now, I understand that, you're of the train of thought to, buy real estate. That's important. But at some point in time, it becomes extremely unintelligent to buy things overvalued. That's just like the number one thing in life, right? When you see a place where 100% of the homes that are being sold over asking, and it's not Manhattan, it's not Miami, things start to not make sense anymore. And when things start to not make sense, then things quickly fall apart. So at some point, buying real estate at crazy prices is not sustainable, because an average house is going to be $10 million at this rate in 10 years, right? Like, people are paying $1 million to live in
River Road.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get that you're an enthusiast for real estate. That's important. But I don't know, man. It's not looking too, it doesn't make a lot of sense, I'll be honest with you. And then when you factor in that there are major hedge funds and financial institutions that's buying up single family homes and blocks, and as I said, there's a shortage of homes, people aren't making money, it's a recession, interest rates are high, inflation is high, real estate prices keep going up. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that this situation is not going well.
It's not sustainable.
Not sustainable. It's really not. So what's your thoughts on that?
Great question. So when was these stats, these people, these towns?
That's for July 2023.
July of 2020, from July 2022 to July 2023.
So let me tell you this, and let me be clear, and let me be on record for the 100th time. I will never tell nobody to spend 100% over asking price. I'm not even telling you to pay asking price, period. This is why I said earlier, you need to focus on the deal, meaning you need to know how to analyze a deal and know if you are overpaying or not overpaying. Now, yes, any type of real estate that you've purchased in the past 4 to 5 years technically is going to be overpriced, right? Things haven't been sustainable. When you have 25% appreciation year over year, that's not sustainable, not at all. Now, for people to continue to buy, and if you're telling me this stat was from July of 2022 to July 2023, and people in 2023 are still paying 100%, 90%, 50% of the sales are still going over asking, we have to dig deeper into those markets, right? Why is that happening? Is there a lot of supply for the amount of buyers that are out there? Like, what's really going on? So I know those stats, they sound crazy, but real estate is a local business. It's not national. So I don't know what's going on in those particular cities to give you that type of information to justify why those home prices or those home sales have went. I mean, what town you said was 100% over asking? I've never even heard a stat.
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock, Texas. I've never even, like, let's keep it real. I've never even heard of no town ever having every home that went for sale go 100% over market.
Exactly. That's my point.
That makes no sense. So
that's my point.
What's really happening in that town to create that type of demand to where buyers feel in a market right now where interest rates are much higher and sellers are willing to negotiate more? Why are these folks doing that? That I can't answer. Now, do I agree with you? Does it make sense? Hell no. It doesn't make sense for nobody that's watching this live or on a replay to pay anything over asking price on a property, no matter what the market is.
So never pay over asking.
Why would you?
I'm asking you. I'm asking you.
No.
Okay.
Matt.
No.
I want to go back to this correction thing because I'm just thinking theoretically, right? We talked about 80% of the people having an interest rate below 5%. You said 50% of them have equity inside the home, which means that people are staying put. If people are staying put, that means they're not selling their homes, right? Because
Right.
why would you sell your home if you're going to have to get a higher interest rate? If people don't sell homes, that tells me that the inventory for homes is going to be a lot smaller, which means that they're going to increase the price of homes.
Correct.
So where does a correction play in that? Because that's what it looks like. That's where we're headed, right? If the interest rates stay at 8% for people who have 750 credit, we're talking maybe 9 to 10% for people who are at 650. We're not going to sell. We're going to stay. Prices are going to get increased because the supply is so short. So where's the correction play in that?
Good question. And this is the $1 million question that I've been saying to everybody. This is why I don't feel home prices will quote unquote crash. We've already seen the correction started happening. We had a 3-4% equity appreciation, I think, year over year, somewhere around there. From the year prior to that, we was over 20% nationally. So we've already seen the market contract. Now, do I still think there's room for more? Maybe 1 to 2% of a correction. If rates stay in this 8 to 10% range, absolutely. But like you said, Troy, people are always going to buy real estate. There's always a need. Someone has to move, someone needs to relocate, family size is getting bigger, and people who make money will still buy and seek shelter and they want to own where they live, right? Those people are the ones who are going to keep the market going. Now, for folks who don't need to sell, they're not going to sell. There's no reason. They're going to take home equity line of credits out and they're going to either improve their homes and make it better for them, or they're going to use that money to invest and do whatever the hell they want to do, start business, etc. So that's what we're going to start seeing more and more is more people tapping into their equity to do other things with it. But I don't really see, like and I'm on record saying this, I don't really see the market going down too much lower than what it is right now from an appreciation standpoint. And again, appreciation is not declining, it's not crashing. It's just, it's not appreciating as much as it was in prior years. But we're still going to have a 1 to 3. Normal real estate appreciates 1 to 4% depending on the market annually. And I think people forget that. Real estate is not something that's accustomed to appreciating 10, 15, 20%.
Year over year, it's insane.
Yeah, year over year, that's crazy. If you at 7 to 10% 7 years ago of appreciation 1 year, that's a home run.
Yeah.
That was a home run. So I think we all have to kind of retrain our thought to what prior to COVID looked like in the real estate space to understand we are just getting back to some sort of normalcy. When I first came into the mortgage business, we were doing deals, refinancing people out of 10, 11% interest rates. This is 2003. This is 20 years ago. Refinancing people out of 10%, 9%, going into 7s. First house I ever purchased, I had a 7.25% interest rate on it.
Yeah.
So like these interest rates might not seem normal. They are definitely higher than what we're accustomed to. But if you look at the historic interest rate charts over the last 40, 50, 60 years,
we're on par where we should be.
We on par, right where rates typically are. It's just with the information out there from people like myself who speak about real estate constantly, from shows like Market Monday, who bring this information, it's now on the forefront and the top of our mind. But this is kind of normal, y'all. What's not normal is just all this inflation and everything else that's coming along with the economy right now.
And then we had 12 years of quantitative easing. Interest rates were damn near negative at one point. That's not normal. I mean, I read today the Mortgage Bankers Association saying prices will increase for probably another 2 or 3 years. If they knock interest rates down to 5%, they'll go up. But like the issue is the institutions. Okay, I'm gonna be super honest. There's only 7 stocks on earth that is moving the entire world. All of the big funds and big hedge funds, they all work together. They'll pretend like they hate each other, like how they do in the NBA, but then you'll see them partying at the end of the season on the yacht together. You can't all have competing interests in all of those shares. So some of the institutional players have to go to real estate before the entire stock market collapses. Voila. Big Short Part 2. Diversification of assets.
Voila.
Voila.
Sorry, the game is the game. That's why I kept telling you. Everyone's like, yo, why Apple and Microsoft? They're two of the only companies on the face of the earth that have protection internationally and amongst all hedge funds and agreements that we'll pile money into these two, but we'll let everything else fail. Why you think all of these hedge funds are starting to buy up Bieber's catalog and now he's hooping in Drew League now? Some of the smaller players, C players, you go get in the music business. Go ahead. We're going to get in real estate. We're going to let y'all die holding the Russell 3000. Voila. Put voila in chat. Well, this is the way the game is played, and then we're having the proper players.
Magic emoji.
And I'm glad you're saying that. Even look at, since we're talking about institutional investors, look at they buying single families for a reason, right? Think about the zoning laws that's been changing all over America to allow accessory dwelling units. You have some areas where you can put multiple ADUs on a single family property right now. So I wouldn't be surprised in 5 to 10 years, you start seeing a lot of ADUs popping up on these institutional investors' properties because they're just taking full advantage of what's happening right now. So if you start really looking at this, look, I always say follow the leader, right? The big boys are buying real estate. I don't see why we shouldn't, as a community, buy real estate, but just be smart about it.
Yeah.
So I'm always gonna be
for
buying.
the record, you're not telling them to buy at 8.5%, right?
No, I'm telling you not to buy over 100% over asking price, like Rashad was just mentioning these stats. What I'm telling you is if you are going to buy at an 8.5% interest rate, you better understand what you're getting yourself into, because these people want their money rain, sleet, hell, snow. They ain't trying to hear you ain't got that mortgage payment. That bill come on the 15th of the prior month before that payment is due. So like for me, if you're going to buy, just be smart about it. And if you can't afford it, sit on the sideline and just wait your turn and stack up your money.
For sure. Matt, we appreciate you coming.
Thank
and
you,
the last
brother.
thing I'll say is, and I don't want to involve Matt in this if he wasn't get involved in it, but it's a elephant in the room, obviously, where a lot of people have been making comments in the chat. I read the chat.
Do you?
I do.
Hold on, I got your back. What's happening? Hold on.
Breaking news
Hit
alert.
the like button.
Hit the like button.
Hit the like button.
Y'all go live.
share.
MLS.
Troy, Rashad, Ian, and Matt are fighting on live. It's the end of an era. Come on. I got you.
Hit the like button.
We are live, huh?
Yeah. I prefer the BS. I prefer it. I actually prefer the BS.
Rashad loves the BS.
He does.
Passionately.
No, he does.
Passionately.
I give him that. He's consistent with that.
Passionately.
He's consistent with that.
Passionately.
Consistent with that.
Passionately.
Oh
look,
man.
Obviously, there's people. The number one question is, what's up with Cesar? What's up with Envy? I don't know. It looked. Did he scam? Looks like it.
Ain't no
looks
look
like it.
Listen.
Like it. That's what it looks like. So I mean, I don't know what you want me to comment about. It looks like he scammed. Look, yeah. It looks like it.
I'll comment on it.
It has the characteristics.
I mean, it has all the signs pointing to it.
Yeah, the characteristics.
It didn't look like it before.
Anytime I've been in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, I ain't hear one person bring up that man. You can't make them houses pop up. You can't make the allegations go away. You can't make her orgasm. How you make something?
Yo, this guy's crazy.
My first question. My dad asked me if there's 26.
We can't do that.
We gotta stay on.
Let's keep it cordial.
We gotta keep it in the boundary units.
If that, but why play all the industry behind the scenes then?
Yo, bro.
If there's 2,600 units available, why when I went to River Park, nobody in River Park ever seen none of the 2,600 units?
Yo, alleged.
So look, Rashad, you brought this up, so I'll say my piece on this. It's sad. It's look, I was on stage. There's no denying this, right? Like, let's just call a spade a spade. I was there at these seminars. I was on stage. I was speaking. Like, I became popular on social media because of being a part of the real estate tours. So for me, in all honesty, this hits me a little bit different probably than everybody else because I was there on the road for almost a year and a half, 2 years.
Did you
20
see any sign? Did you see any sign?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because there was always the same message. And I've been in, look, I'm not here defending nobody. I just want to say this right now, real quick. Okay, that's my disclaimer. I'm just telling you from my POV.
Yeah.
Nah, I gotta say that because in the comments with like I don't need it right now.
You gotta be careful. Yep.
I'm in a good space in my life right now. I don't need the bullshit right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, from what I've seen from my POV, there was no upselling on stages while I was a part of the seminars. You've guys seen it for your own two eyes, with a couple ones that you've been there as well. It was no like elaborate, like when you go to seminars and conferences now, when you see like the upsell happen, like none of that was happening. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've heard Indy say millions of times in public and in private conversations, he doesn't take no money from nobody, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I did not see any of this coming. Now, again, it is sad that this is happening because this is someone that the people trusted. Like these folks will come to these seminars, and you guys just had Market Mondays yesterday. You see how the people they love us. You know what I'm saying? Like they keep us at a high regard, and that trust was built, and then the shit has just been broken badly, and it sucks. And I feel bad for all of the people who invested, trusting, thinking that it was going to be something, and it's not now. So when I look at this whole situation, I'm truly sad by it because I was a person that was there. I've seen it with my own two eyes, and to see how certain things are playing out on social media right now, it just doesn't sit well with me. Like I hate it. Like I hate it for like everything that I thought this thing represented. You know what I'm saying? Like it represented empowerment for our people. I've been doing mortgages for 20 years, bro. I just got on the internet 4 or 5 years ago. Like this is something that I'm passionate about. I love real estate. I know what it did to my life, what it did to my family lives and other people's lives. And when you see something like this from people that look like us, it hurts, man. Like it hurts, and there's no way around it. And I know, everybody got their own feelings, but this is just my opinion. I hate this shit. And like you said, Rashad and Troy, and you both said, if it looked like a scam, it smelled like a scam, it might be a scam. I don't know. I can only go off the information that's being presented online, and the courts are obviously they're going to dig through everything and they're going to put more information out there. And accountability needs to be happening. People are going to go to jail behind this. There's no way around it. You can't take that much money from the community and not be held accountable for it. And this is the one thing I'm gonna say, which hurts me the most is like, yo, if we're gonna raise, and this is to all the real estate people who are gonna watch this now. If you're gonna go out here and build up your social influence, don't abuse your influence. Don't abuse your superpowers. That's something that, Rashad used to say this to us years ago in our huddles, right? Can't abuse your superpowers. Your superpowers is influence. Your superpowers is that people are trusting you. And especially in the real estate space, we have to understand that our people have been behind the 8 ball in real estate historically. There were laws put in place for us not to buy real estate. So when you're out here doing your thing and you're gaining this popularity, getting this influence, don't abuse it, man. If you're going to take somebody's money, nigga, do what the fuck you say you're going to do, B. Like, I don't understand this shit. Like, how can you do this? Like, and look, he has to have
because
it.
the skill set was not there before.
Well,
if we're going to keep it above,
I can't even say that because I don't know what he was really telling.
I got two people. I can text it to Troy and Rashad. I got two people in Red Panda. Shout to Luis. One of my guys down 350 with him.
Bro, I know the same way you know people, I know people too. But for me, what I look at is again, when was all of this happening? Like, when was these meetings? Like, when was this going? Like, it's a lot that I still can't wrap my mind around because again, I didn't see this while we was on tours and I didn't see it with my own two eyes. But I know several people who've invested with him. And I'm like, damn, when the hell did you even meet him? Like, these are the things that, like, I don't know when this was happening. And it sucks when you hear, like, I got people who look 150, 200 down. I'm like, damn, yo, like, what the fuck?
If people bringing the money in a bag to you with no contract,
I mean,
we all did business with each other. Like, I'm gonna be less performative. I'm a
But that's why I'm saying, like, if we are going to put ourselves in a position to be the authority in the spaces that we are in, then we can't abuse our superpowers. Like, period.
I don't think that I'm gonna say this. I think Envy was smart enough to never take money. I do believe that because Envy had money prior to, but this is why I always screamed. Where was everybody at that was making all this money pre-COVID? Let me see them kids. Let me see the wife. Let me see what that debt is, that debt to income ratio. Everybody talk the big boss talk until it's time to get the money back.
Look,
It ain't many people who even give out money. So where all the money Big Willie-ish come from?
I will say this. Like Matt said, it's an extremely unfortunate situation because I seen somebody like real estate is a scam. And that's just the craziest thing in the world to say. Like
it's nut shit to say that.
But I'm just saying, but that just comes from, all of the, that comes from the internet of just, a variety of different things, just being uneducated.
That's a lot of emotion speaking, being
like,
uneducated.
Real estate, real estate is 100%. Everybody has real estate because either you're involved in it one way or the other. You're living somewhere. So you're either owning where you live or you're paying somebody else's mortgage as a renter. Or if you're homeless, you're sleeping on street property that's owned by the city. So everybody's involved in real estate.
Even digitally, we leasing YouTube right now. Like,
that's a fact. So like I always say, man, there's no benefit in taking people's money because it always comes back to you. That's why I said there's no benefit. I said I had this whole rant 3 months ago, and then people were like, of course there's a benefit. The benefit is that you're scamming. What I mean by it, since I know that you got to kind of break things down for people online. What I mean by it is that there's no benefit because it always comes back to you. 99.9% of the time, you're not going to be able. Even Madoff, he ran it for 30 years, but he ended up dying in jail. You can't get away with something like that forever. Like you can't. Like it has no benefit in the long run. It's short term, and you can trick people. Like, I mean, if it looks good, people going to think it looks good. If everything checks out, like you can't. No, you're not a private investigator. You don't know what every single person does. Like, if somebody's vouching for him that is highly successful and has a wide range and a good, voice, and he's saying that he's actually in business with the person. It's not just vouching for him, like saying like I'm actually in business with the person, and so showing you properties, bringing you to an office. Of course, you're not gonna really question it too much. So yeah, for all you. So all right, so everybody wanted to comment on the situation. We commented. I don't know if that's going to make the situation better.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I don't know if it's going to change anything.
The alphabet boys are involved. There's not much. You just got to sit back and hopefully let it play out and pray for everybody who's been taken advantage of. Hopefully everybody's made whole. It's an unfortunate situation, but like you said, it's in the hands of the court at a certain point.
And Envy, he said some very interesting things about us, but I don't take anything personal. It's not about me. It's bigger than me. Like, what I'm saying? It's not about us. Whatever he said about us is cool. I don't have a personal vendetta against him. I don't want to personally, like, I'm saying? I don't have a personal issue, but it's about if people got hurt, then that's bigger than what he said about if he made us or
you're going to make it worse for all of us. I remember when I told you Charlemagne called and was like, yo, this is going to hurt everybody. No, I don't know if bad for business. If the other person attached to him was even paid to do that. I don't know. Well, I do know when we collectively start to get into an industry and we start to collect assets, all of a sudden something happens to destroy the market, to make us get out of it, or we get demonized or priced out of it. And guess what? All of the assets become available to other people. And now we got to pay 3x on it.
But I will say this: it's best. This is the last thing I'll say because we got other stuff to talk about. But it's never a good idea to give people money. I never asked anybody for money. When I was a financial advisor, I never asked anybody for money. You never wrote a check out to Rashad Bilal Enterprises, Rashad Bilal LLC. Yeah. No, I'll give you advice and I'll tell you to open a brokerage account with Fidelity, or open a brokerage account with TD Ameritrade, or get life insurance from New. You don't need to pay me and
to do it.
Like, that's always a red flag, right? So that is just best practices in life. It's never a good idea to write a check out to Matt Garland and Associates and have him, like, if y'all set a company up, then that might be different. I'm just saying, as far as just in best practices, this is bigger than just the real estate. This is just in life, right?
In
Like,
general, yep.
you don't want to do that. That's something that is not usually beneficial. That's something that usually is gonna be bad for you.
Yeah.
But okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can I have the final word?
Yeah,
Matt,
final word on this whole situation. Like I said, it's a sad situation. I hate to see this happening. It sucks. It's a black eye for the whole community, the whole real estate community. And just to piggyback on what you were saying about, real estate is a business where people OPM, right? Other people's money. It's something that investors do. They borrow private money. But I would tell anybody in the real estate space, especially you black and brown, you better have your ducks in a row. You better have your shit together. You better make sure your paperwork is paperworking, because this is not a good situation that has happened. And if you
Yeah.
are going to raise capital, you need to do it the right way. You need to get legitimate, create a fund, do it the right way. We got to stop cutting corners in our community. Like there's no place for things like this to happen, man. And it's sad and it sucks that I hate that this is happening. And I'd like you said, and I just hope everybody could be made whole, and things could get resolved, because it's just a terrible situation. And I hate this for our people. Like I hate this for our people. So now that I've spoken about it, y'all can all stay out of my comments too and stop asking me about this shit. I don't care if Envy said he made me. It doesn't matter to me. Like, leave me alone about this subject, please, and let's let the law be the law and do what they got to do at this point.
Yeah.
Apple Blood Boys are knocking. People continue to do your research. It's very important. You do
your research, man. Listen to Market Mondays. Listen to Market Mondays.
Independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information, not just from our show, any information that you hear and which you rely upon. Please continue to do that.
Matt, always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Much love, my brothers. I appreciate you.
Love is love, my guy.
Love.
Thank you.
And make sure the people that are raising the funds have their own funds and they're independently free. I don't say it to be arrogant, but when I came on the show and said, hey, I'm free, I didn't do it as a flex. I did it because to let people know I didn't need to raise capital or do a whole bunch of deals and shit like that. Like, there's too many people, I think, in a pandemic that started talking about investing who use this as a hustle because their other thing was not working. The great part about the market, though, is if you study the markets from the 1700s through now, homework assignment, how many Ponzi's are revealed every pre-recessionary environment? My Forex funds was one. This was, and like I said, I'm not mad at any party involved. I don't want anybody to be taken advantage of, though.
No, for sure.
I've made you money. Please put yes in chat.
For sure. All right.
On a lighter note, you guys looked immaculate at the show yesterday. The coordinating blue. My favorite you is Jay-Z Blue.
Appreciate that, man. Likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. Well,
let's hit the topic.
Switching gears.
Let's hit the topic.
Shall we? Let's do it.
Let's do
it. Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Let's talk about Apple. Let's talk about Apple.
Yes.
Apple is reportedly now on course to spend $1 billion per year on generative AI to make a smarter Siri and AI-influenced iOS. What is your target price for Apple going forward as a result?
7,300 by next year. Are we just gonna throw out price? No, I'm joking. I mean, we just gonna throw out prices for the sake of it. I'm just kidding. Let me look at Apple real quick. 286 is a target I think we can hit in 2 to 3 years. I don't like that they're behind in a lot of things. Generative AI may not be the biggest one, but there is a trend of Apple. Although the iOS has been a lot more innovative, they have become a laggard in the technology space. And I get it, when you have a company that big, it's hard to really adjust. I think they have made a swift adjustment. The model of we're going to let other people create and then we'll follow is something that has worked for them for a long period of time, being that this is like their 30th year of doing well. That's not a formula that I want them to continue to follow. But Apple will do well, I'm looking to see a lot more innovation. I think Tim Cook, of course, is still one of the best CEOs of all time and definitely the best in this era. But in order for them to get back to that 400 or 500 price range, they need to innovate a lot faster. But that 230, 240 range is where I have them going in 2 to 3 years. And this adaptation for Siri will help a lot.
I was gonna say that's consistent with most analysts. They have it at 240 to 250. I think I saw Morgan Stanley boosted it up to 260. But it's important to talk about the time period of that range, right? So we're talking over the next 12 to 16 months, because that's important, because innovation happens inside of that time frame. It's tough to predict where they're headed, because I mean they don't release the news on what they're going to be doing as far as innovation. But you're right. I mean, the most important, I think, thing to keep an eye on over that next 12 to 16 month period is what is the innovation for their breadwinner, and that is the iPhone. What does it look like? Let's see what the sales look like. I know they have their earnings report coming up very shortly. Let's see what it looks like for the next 2 to 3 quarters, because we've seen over the past 3 that they've had negative sales when it comes to the iPhone. We've seen it decrease in sales over the past 3. Will that cycle continue? Will be very indicative of where we can go with this price point. It could be something that gets to 260 by next year, or it could be something that's sitting at 215, depending on the innovation. I know that we have the Vision Pro coming, and obviously they're moving, and we'll probably talk about that too, as far as getting rid of Intel and using their own ARM and using their own processors inside of the devices. That cuts to a lot of costs. I'm sure they'll add some more stuff inside of the wearable space. But the breadwinner is always going to be the iPhone. And if we don't see innovation in there, it'd be interesting to see what that projection looks like in the next 2 to 3 quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. Homework assignment. You guys can go look for the last 15 quarters. What was the amount that the Apple stock either went up or down? It's a good exercise to do to know what range that they'll normally be in. Also, the iPhone sales would be like a quasi indicator of the overall economy. If you go look to see when the sales started to slow down, that's when like quantitative easing started to come to an end as well. And we talked about it at the show, like M2 money supply started to lighten up a little bit at the time. It's not a hard economic indicator like yield curve inversion or junk bond like we talked about last night, but I do keep my eyes on how well they're doing as a broader sign for the economy. Like if America's number one company, number one product is not selling well, it is really reflective of what's going on in the general market overall.
So, all right, let's talk about China, shall we? So
Yes.
China, all right, we talk about this situation that's been going on in Gaza, and it's just increasingly getting worse by the day. So China sent 6 warships to the Middle East to have a presence there. America sent the biggest battleship in the world over there. Joe Biden, he got on TV and asked for 105 billion for Ukraine, Israel, border protection. It's like a jumbo deal. Taiwan, just like combo package.
Added in there.
Okay. Where are we at with the geopolitical conversation for the week when it comes to China? China, they condemned the U.S. The U.S. actually vetoed a UN resolution for ceasefire. The U.S. vetoed it. Mostly every other country in the world wanted it to happen, but the U.S. didn't want that to happen. And China said that they were deeply disappointed after the U.S. blocked the Gaza resolution at the UN. And as a result, Israel has continued its airstrikes. So, all right, China, how are they figuring in this situation?
For me, last week I said one of my biggest concerns is if China decides to get involved in the conflict, as usual. I'm going to stay away from all political commentary, especially as I'm campaigning, shaking hands and kissing babies. I do want to talk about the stock side of it, though. I do. If this is not solved within the next 2 to 3 months, it could be disastrous for our economy, and it will send the stock market into a tailspin. A few people were asking me last night, like, do I think earnings will be great? I'm like, the earnings are going to be what the earnings are. The great companies are going to adjust. But when you have like big threats like this is a real war. This isn't issues of yesteryear. This is the greatest threat that we have to our stock market. Like that Magnificent Seven may get chopped down to a top 3 if we continue to have these kind of conflicts. So I won't take a side either way, but China being involved is not great because then that comes with the backing of Russia, and then our forces and allies have to come to aid us in this war. Shout out to our Ukrainian audience member last night, and to all the people in Ukraine and everyone in Russia. I want peace amongst all. But we have to be very careful. Like if we thought the .com crash was something and the 07 crash was something that was contained to one sector. Like these were paper loans that were jumbled up and repackaged and resold. That caused the market to drop 45%. What do you think World War III would do?
But the thing about it is, here's the thing.
Can I just add context before you add the commentary? So it's important, right? When we talk about media and we're talking about perspective, and context is important. So when we talk about China's involvement, if you read like articles that don't come from Western media, right? Like I was reading the Global Times.
Yep.
The 6 warships were already supposed to, or they're not even warships. There was one ship that was being sent, and they sent ships to protect it in Israel off the coast of Kuwait, which is already a part of their goodwill visit. It just so happens that it's happening at the same time. Now you call it coincidence.
While the commentary came out.
Right. While the commentary came out. And so that those ships were already going to be there. In fact, they do that almost every year. They send ships up and off the coast of Kuwait, and then they leave out of Eastern Africa. And one of the reasons they said even last year that they had that visit was because they had Chinese nationalists who were in Sudan that needed to get out of the country, and they had to have people in the region to make sure they can get out. And so it's interesting that because that routine, quote unquote, routine goodwill visit to the region sparked that, China has now sent ships to the Middle East, which is, I mean, that might not even be in the intent, right? So when we talk about involvement, it's important to get context and look at different perspectives of where that news is coming from.
Well, can I pair it with one other news point?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, China sells most U.S. assets in 4 years. 21 billion of stocks and treasury bonds got sold off while the bond market, UB on the futures market hit an all-time low. So let's say the ships go there. It's not that big of a thing. They did make a statement, which is rare for them to do. Right. It's not an immediate conflict while selling off. Like China's our financial parent. So when they got the dump in the bonds and the stocks in tandem, I'm like, something's going on.
Yeah, and we saw from the semiconductor space where we're seeing bands going right, bands going left.
Yeah,
it's all going to come back to affect our economy, right? Yeah. These things are really happening.
But the thing about it is that it's hard to really even call it a war, and it's hard to really. The World War III thing is so. A few things have to happen. We have to be responsible with our journalism, since we're actually journalists. So it's important to put it in perspective. Israel has one of the most efficient militaries in the world. They're fighting. Palestine doesn't have a military. They're not even allowed to have a military. So it's literally like it's like a giant fighting an ant.
I have to ask: is this the route that we want to go?
No, I'm just being honest.
But it's gonna get clipped.
It is, but I'm not even taking a side. I'm just presenting the facts. I'm just presenting the facts. So they could dismantle the whole Gaza Strip in a week if they want to. The only thing that has any level of resistance on it is America, and America is okay. If America okays it, then there's no stopping what they can do. And there's no repercussion that can come from them, because America is the strongest nation in the world, has the strongest military, and is economically the strongest power, right? So it's a little bit more complex than just a regular war. It's not. It's not like a regular war, right? It's like they're not fighting. They're not fighting another army, right? Even Ukraine has an army, and they're not as good. They're not as sizable as the Russian army, but they're not fighting an army, right? So, with that being said, it's hard to have a World War III when you're not really there's not the opposition that's even formidable enough to be an opponent.
Okay.
No,
I'm rocking with you, bro. I'm this topic. I'm gonna treat this topic how I should have the last segment. I'm
Too late.
learning. Let me look tight, pop. Let me. All I want to do is love. Get your hand off that stove. Stop. Last segment. I agree. My thing is, okay, did we win the last conflict that we were in the Middle East? We're weaker now than ever. We'll put some stats up on the board last night. 16 trillion in mortgages under, highest the credit card rates have ever been. Americans are defaulting on car loans quicker than ever. It's my first, I've said it before, and everyone is taking it lighter than it should be. It's the first time I've seen the Federal Reserve chairman be nervous and they print fucking money. That's scary. Like, if I could manufacture this and I'm scared, man, you got to. So I get it if it's head up, but there are conflicts and there's going to be a domino effects. And yes, our military is strong, but our economy isn't. Our economy couldn't deal with a respiratory virus for 12 months. We'll talk about House of Cards. Boy.
It's still the strongest economy in the world.
Correct.
Correct.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
All right. Okay.
Barstool can't prop up this economy. Shout out Portnoy. It's strong till it's not. If listen, there's 7. I put up 10 yesterday.
You did.
If I had to put my life on it, I couldn't name you 40 stocks to invest in if it risked me or Xander's life. And I'm one of the best to ever do this. Impossible to put up 40. You look to Spain, Mercado Libre's even having problems. Like, it is tougher and tighter than ever. The credit spreads are not where they should be. Interest rates are too high. Defaults are happening. No one's still talking about Evergrande the way that it should. Just the scene in The Big Short when he's like throwing the blocks in the trash can before everything topples over. It sounds crazy, but we'll see. And I can't wait till it all blows up so we can see who's here so we can get the fake out the way. Investor 2024 going to be different. Ooh, baby. Ooh. We got to start making that called Omaha. I ain't talking no Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Bud.
Listen. I'm just saying, the people who built Hudson Yards, I don't know if they got their money back yet.
That was an interesting deal.
Wrong timing. The price in which you buy means everything. But what do I know? I'm just some fair-skinned black man on YouTube. Next segment. I love you. See what I got to make sure I go through?
Let's pray for world peace.
Yep. That I agree. We need that.
Love is all we need.
Hey, Troy, Hammer. We got to pray just to make it today. Shout out Toby.
That's a hit. That was a hit. Stop playing. Y'all gonna stop playing with him.
Shout out to Hammer. All right, let's bring our second guest on if we can.
Oh,
salute.
There you go.
Salute.
What's happening with the family, man?
What's good with you, good brother?
Man, we having very interesting, powerful conversations. I'm happy to be
here. Which is why it felt very high level. So it's only right that,
as always,
we had you join it.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on again. You brothers are always high level with or without me, so it's always a pleasure being on this show.
King T'Challa.
I was gonna say it. Black Panther, and I like the camera angle. I see the vision.
You know, all of this was natural. Actually, I didn't think about it till I leaned back.
I mean, you're such a high creative, though. I see you getting your Kugler on. Come on.
Yeah, I'm working.
The novices do the straight on angle, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm working on the sequel.
Got you.
King
With all
T'Challa.
I might not need Marvel.
It's a fact. That is a fact. So fresh off the Market Mondays extravaganza yesterday in Chicago. Let's get right into it. So, all right, let's pick up where we left off yesterday, shall we? Let's talk about artificial intelligence. You gave some great commentary yesterday about artificial intelligence, so I think you could probably provide that level of intellect, or if you want to add some other spin on it. But I'm just interested to see, how you are currently using artificial intelligence and how people in their day-to-day life, because everybody hears about AI, but they're like, how does this affect me? How does this impact me? And people watch Earn Your Leisure to get information so they can actually, help their situation. When they watch Market Mondays, it's like, I want to learn something so I can go into the stock market and start investing. I want to learn something, I can go into the real estate. I want to learn something. And so, yeah, what can we give them as for artificial intelligence?
Well, we living in the age of AI. I always like to start there. The age of the AI is creating self-realization machines, right? If you go to biblical verse, I think it's chapter 3, verse 14, they talk about, it's very, everybody should look that up because it talks about the great I am. And I heard somebody giving a breakdown. It was explaining the I am as the AI, basically saying that if we ever get to a point of singularity, right, then that's when the world, as we know it, will be changed because machines will have so-called consciousness, right? And that's the high level, right? That's the idea of the singularity that people are afraid of one day machines ruling man and man creating its own God, right? An artificial God, if you will. Now, I bring that up because most people don't realize how artificial the world currently is in its current state, from artificial bodies, from artificial food, from artificial insemination, artificial information, right? There's so many things that are artificial today, and we're just living in the world of grand illusions at a grand scale, right? Nothing is as what it seems, right? The lack of authenticity is making people jump onto things that have any breath of fresh air of truth in it. And this is why we get to see polarization of figures, whether they're good or bad, but when they be themselves and it's authentic and it's true, you see the world grasp onto them. And we see this in the industry today. Now, as I glossed over that, thought process, and you can kind of see more on my high level conversation I did for the last two of them is it went deep onto that process. But to kind of go into some tactical and more practical ways of utilizing artificial intelligence, and we can call it AI or we can just call it these tools or these systems, right? Because we don't address social media by ISP or the internet protocol that's behind it. We address it by its use case. Right. And I think that that's important to state when we start talking about use case. So for me, the first use case that we talked about was in London at Royal Albert Hall. And this was before anybody was talking about AI. And the reason that I had got on board and was studying it because I was studying generative design, which wasn't even talking about AI, but it was talking about the ability for engineers and, designers to directly work with machines to be able to create designs that normally weren't possible. So I was saying generative AI is going to be the future. And I always like to look ahead when I'm trying to find what the future is. And so now we are in the prompt engineering phase of reality, where I believe that the best jobs in the world will be based on prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is simply figuring out a way for, you to get the best result from AI once you give it a prompt. The same way if you're trying to get the best results out of an employee when you tell them to do something. But the way you tell and the clarity of your instructions, right, will be directly in measurement and determination of the results that you get from the people, right? The same thing with the machines. You have to train them to be effective, right? And as you're training them to be effective, you're going to get better results. So I utilize ChatGPT a lot, especially these days, because they just upgraded it in multiple different ways. So they have the AI where you can speak directly to it, and this AI is going to speak directly back to you in a more natural language. So now you can speak to it instead of just type to it. So I can say, hey, I want you to give me an overview on the war. I want you to get an overview on the beginning of the stock market. And it'd be like, sure. And I can tell it how to address me. So it may say, sure, 19 keys. So if you watch, as we talked about yesterday, Iron Man, then you would see that they had Jarvis, which was a AI model that was multimodal, meaning that it can do multiple things. It can scan the internet, right? It can, create images, videos. It can break down data, right? It can do so many different things. So the world basically has $1 billion tool in its pocket. But the thing is how will you use it, right? So for me, I utilize it in all different ways. And research is one of the number one things. So research with AI, you have to be careful because a lot of people don't like double checking sources whatsoever. So if ChatGPT lies to you, how will you know? Right now, Bar AI have what they call AI constitution. This AI constitution has it built into where it will double check itself. And if it does mess up and it glitches, or as they call have a mirage or whatever, right? Then it will go back and it will fix it and give you the correct information. Now, there is a way where you can go into the settings of ChatGPT and do that when you go and customize it. And I always tell it to every time, you do something, I need you to run a report and tell me why this is true. So it reinforces the data that it gives me to make sure that it's not giving me incorrect data. Now, this is basically a whole curriculum, just how to utilize ChatGPT within itself before we even go to Bard and Claude and all of these other different AI systems and tools that's out there. And the reason I'm focusing on just chat and not even the other ones yet, because we are in a deep age of fast consumption. And this fast consumption got people just jumping onto wave to wave to wave to wave to wave without actually learning how to surf, right? And so for me, it's about digesting the information, finding the true value, and from there, you can become a true creative. And the true creatives are ones who learn how to use the tools the best way possible, not waiting just for instructions, right? When you're waiting for instructions, you have to continuously be handheld and walk through things in order to know what to do next. And or you become a carbon copy of the original. So all we see is the same thought process played over and over and over. But when you jump into these systems and you start playing with them and utilizing them, like my brother, Mr. Grateful, I was out at the Instagram headquarters with him. And, he had went into the AI and he said, can you give me a strategy for the next 6 months on how I can gain 50,000 followers? Right now, he followed this to the T. Right. And to this day, he has, I think, up to like 100 to 200,000.
Yeah, it should be like a 150, something like that.
And he was, so most people don't know, Mr. Grateful was originally working with me and for me. He was doing a lot of the thumbnails and things of nature behind the scene. He had no following whatsoever. Right. So maybe like 1,000, 2,000 followers. So he directly correlates his whole entire following and the strategy and the implementation of it from utilizing this tool that is AI, right, in its correct manner. And this is why I told him early on, I said, listen, AI is, a tool. My formula for AI is AI plus EI, right? Artificial intelligence, no, AI plus NI equals EI. Artificial intelligence plus natural intelligence equals enhanced intelligence, right? So he took ideas that he already had existing, took this $1 billion tool, and then he utilized that in order to create a plan of implementation so he can have a framework of execution. So therefore, he's been winning. And now he in his second phase of AI teaching them how to get 6 figures, and he was able to do that. So while a lot of people playing with these tools, there are a lot of people who are actually utilizing it to make money and create greater business efficiencies and practices. People are losing their job, not because they have to, but because a lot of people won't utilize the AI to replace the services that they do, which means that you should be able to render services faster and or cheaper, right? But when you're charging people the same amount and it takes you less time to do the work and you're not adjusting your prices, And then a person goes on and they type them a prompt and they like, wait a minute, I was able to get this done. And I'm thinking about all the money I can save. Then of course I'm going to decrease that overhead by getting rid of you. And then in the future, I may just hire somebody that can do that for me. Or AI may be trained so well that it knows me. So when I tell AI to do something, they know exactly the parameters in which I want it done. So I don't need the full stack of services from people because they have skill sets that I don't have.
Yeah.
So the time that we're living in with the AI right now is a time where, you know, you have the smartest people in the world working for you, but you have to learn how to tell them what to do and to manage the services of these skill sets.
I know I've asked you this before, but do you think prompt engineering for this era is going to be as important as coding in the early 2000s?
More important.
Tell me
Way more, because prompt engineering is in more than just technology, right? So when you talking about coding, typically you're talking about somebody rendering services for a website, for some engineering, back end stuff. Prompt engineering goes into all fields, whether you are in fashion, whether you are in business, whether you are in food, right? You can go and generate recipes. The prompt engineering goes into politics. It goes into almost every single field, right, that we have currently today. So prompt engineering is another way of saying I can manage these skills for you, right? I can manage these services for you. And if you really want to become good at it, like learning different, like even if I go on there and I want to get certain things done, it's really a a process to get the best results out of AI, right? Because I can say, hey, design me a flyer for a thumbnail, and then it can design me anything based on it having access to billions of metrics of art direction that it can go. But when I can give it direction, I can say, I need you to do a 16 by 9 dimension. I got this, I'm gonna show y'all this book I got in front of me. So this big book of graphic design, right? So I can go into this big book of graphic design and I can go look at different graphic artists from different eras that have different styles. And based on knowing the art direction of those styles, I can tell ChatGPT to make something similar and or inspired by. So now it's getting closer to what's in my mind's eye and it can bring it out, right? But if I don't study this, then I don't have the framework and the references, right, to know what to do. Now, AI at one point in time is going to get so good. You say, AI, can you give me different art directions and give me names? So when I give you directions, you and me are on the same page. Like you're going to be able to talk to AI like that. But for now, in the early stages, right, prompt engineering is so important because the owner of the business don't want to have to deal with the AI themselves.
Keys, one of the most important parts of AI is going to be the data storage, right? In order to have prompt engineering, you have to have somebody prompting, and you have to keep feeding the tool as it learns. It gives you more answers and more responses. After we spoke yesterday, I started thinking to myself, this feels like similar to a technology that we saw maybe 10 years ago in cryptocurrency, where this technology is new, but the energy that it costs to, I guess, mine was something that people weren't thinking about and how much that costs. Do you think that people, because I'm always looking at how people can implement it and how they can take advantage of it, right? Number one, educate themselves around it. But how can we create careers inside of it? And so, Ian, I'm glad you brought up coding because that's what was being pushed to kids for generations.
Yeah.
Is it now a part of us that now we should be looking on data storage? Is it cloud service, AWS, Azure, right? Because ChatGPT is storing all this everywhere, somewhere. Are these the type of places that we should maybe put our eyes and our focus on?
I would say all of them. I mean, any infrastructure around AI is going to be valuable, right? I would say directly as ways to benefit from AI SaaS, so software as services. I would say, like, if just think about the problems that we have within business, right? I had one of my coders and I hate calling him into just like a coder or anything of that nature, but he's really a tech engineer. And one of them was like creating decks for entrepreneurs, right? Where they can type in their ideas or it can scan their different social medias. And the idea was giving the average entrepreneur, right, access to these tools and these business tools that they would need, things that you probably don't learn about a little later into your journey. But it was like, how do we create these softwares that solve problems that we didn't get to solve till later on, or maybe you didn't have access to the right people, network, right, finances. But it's like when you start thinking about all of the problems we have, think about how you can create an AI tool to solve it, right? Obviously, content creation is such a huge thing. So people went and say, okay, well, I'll do editing software and tools. So now you have all of these editing software and tools, right? People want to add B-roll. So now people are utilizing the text to prompt to create pictures that can coincide with the words that you're speaking. So you can go in and put B-roll inside of your content. So when you're talking about software as a service, it's the same thing with financial literacy. How can you utilize AI to solve the problems of the financially illiterate within the world? You all were talking about real estate earlier, right? How can you go on AI and utilize AI as a way to, scan whether these are good deals, whether these are transparent, or ways that you can audit people if you want to? It's going to be much harder in the future to scam because AI is going to be right there as an assistant, helping you along throughout whatever process and for whatever question that you have. There's literally going to be an AI for everything. Yeah. And I don't believe, like, besides ChatGPT and like Bard and a few other ones that's out there, none of them have really such a big brand name that they get to be the Coca-Cola of AI. That means that all of this is up for grabs. And meaning that you don't have to be the coder, you have to be the one with the great idea and the execution, right? So that means that now you don't even have to have ever been in tech. But if you can think about an issue that's in your service, in your industry, right, and you can fund the creation of that tool to solve that problem, then you can start bringing in traffic and making money now, right? So for this space, I would considerably just looking at how do I solve problems and how do I use this new technology to solve problems.
Yeah. Would you say that AI is like what apps should have been? Because if you look at like most of the things that were created, like you had Craigslist back in the 90s, and then babysitting services went to care.com, limos went to Uber. Do you think that AI in this generation is going to be what we wish apps could have been maybe 8 or 9 years ago?
Hell yeah, because it's like being able to talk to the apps, basically. Yeah. These are smart applications, if you will. It's like a lot of the things that we thought was missing, AI is just going to be filling those gaps.
And bridge those
I
gaps,
think that it is, especially for younger generation. Like, I know, transhumanism is going to be very real, where people are really going to be taking Elon Musk's headwear and putting it on their brain, right? Like, people are putting the glasses on now. And they always bring in these tools as if they're like a medical service for people that need additional assistance. But then eventually it's just going to be for everybody, right? The same way Adderall was supposed to be for people who had ADHD, and everybody's using it as a focus drug, right? So it's going to be the same thing with AI, right? These tools of enhancement. So I believe that the younger generation is going to see AI as so normal and standard. They're not going to have that same pause of, I don't want to use these things. I don't want to do all that. And once the thing has been invented, it can't be uninvented. They're going to want to use it in every single way possible. When your child is utilizing AI tools, that's when you know it's here, it's forever, and the future has hit that signal that lets you know, all right, now this is the new standard.
So let's do this before we leave this AI conversation. I want to I have a suspicion. I don't think the vast majority of people have ever actually even used AI for like an advanced level. They've used it like inadvertently, but they probably have never used any of these. So I identified 4 platforms: ChatGPT, Claude, Anthropic, Bard. So I want to get everybody's take on these different platforms and how each individual person has used one of these platforms to actually help themselves. I think that would be beneficial for the audience.
It's a great question. For me, I don't know, it's been 9 months or something like that I've been using ChatGPT. I use it for all emails. For a while, I was using it for all text replies. I help to filter some of the research that I do, that I send my Telegram channel for Stock Club. I do use it to do some like analysis and what the stuff that I was seeing in media, like the destruction of the podcast space, Disney. So I went and took a data set from the early 1800s and compared it through now to see which like radio stations and shows started to collapse as TV came in. So I use it as a tool to analyze, like to see what market trends were going to go. And even on like, you know, scripting ideas, TV show side, like it's been an additional brain, honestly, for me. Like if I look at my tabs and ChatGPT, I probably have 600-700 tabs in there. So I've used it like an executive assistant that I don't have to talk to. And same thing after the Madison Square Garden show. Like once I start using the platform and playing with it, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, but I let 12 people go. And ChatGPT has been a lot more efficient. To those who are lost, I had to lose you to become better. Apologies.
More efficient.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Anthropic. I spoke about it a little bit last night, but this is a perfect time. Like I said, it's something that can summarize large pieces of data. And so I'll give a prime example of how I'm probably going to use it this week. It's a big earnings week. And so you got Microsoft, Google, Meta, Amazon all reporting. Rather than going through their 20-page report, I can save that PDF, put it in Anthropic, tell Claude, summarize this for me, and it'll give it to me in 10 seconds in a paragraph. And so now it makes my study and my research and my data collection even more efficient because I can do it in less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then I get to cross-reference it, right? So especially last night I spoke about how I'm investing with it. I get to cross-reference, right? I get to use as many analysts and experts that are in the space that have come to a conclusion. I get to cross-reference what they have against what I'm doing and say, all right, well, we're in the same ballpark, or let me see where they got it from. And it does it really detailed. Now, I only showed you to summarize, but if I asked it to, or if I prompted it to do more, it could. So I use Claude. I use ChatGPT every now and then when we have an interview, I'll put in the guest's name and I'll say, I'll prompt it just to get ideas like, oh, wait, I never thought about that. Because it might be a piece of information that I forgot, right? Because some of these people have a vast career. And sometimes you might miss a piece of something that happened 15 years ago. And so sometimes it'll give me a fresh reminder of, oh, wait, this might have been a critical piece of something that happened or a business venture was spawned from that idea. So I use ChatGPT in that way as well.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT every day. As I said before previously, I don't know if you're not using artificial intelligence every day, and you're a business owner or a creator. I don't know. I'm not sure how. I don't know. I don't know how you're functioning. I really don't. I think you're doing yourself a tremendous disservice, and I think you're doing your business a disservice because there's no way that you can function at an extremely high level in 2023 without implementing artificial intelligence daily.
Yeah.
That's going to be extremely hard to do. So I use it for a variety of different reasons. I use ChatGPT to summarize articles on the go. If I want to just get the cliff notes, I'll just put the article in there and it'll put it into 2 paragraphs. I use ChatGPT to write a lot of stuff, whether it's captions or whether it's YouTube descriptions or YouTube titles or variety of different things. Give it a variety of different talking points and then say summarize this. Now the thing is, it as I said yesterday, it's like a performance enhancement. You still have to be able to perform though, right?
Yes.
So you have to be intelligent enough to give it something to actually, decipher. And then you also have to be intelligent enough to read it and then change something because it might not be in your actually tone, or you might want to add something. So it does provide a great framework though. For questions, for interviews, that makes the process a lot easier for sure. A lot of times people send notes about themselves, a bio. So I'll put the bio in ChatGPT and say, make 10 questions about this. And then if I don't like it, I'll say, make 10 questions more focused on business or more focused on how they actually got up and running. And then it'll change it. And then it'll create 10 more questions. So definitely use it for almost every interview that we're doing right now. Yeah, I mean, it's just, a variety of different factors, but spell check, little stuff like that, it's like that was that's a job, right? Like an editor is a job that you get paid to edit people's work. There's no really need to have an editor with ChatGPT. just say correct it. Little things like that make a big difference, right? Spell check this, check it for grammatical mistakes, things like that. So yeah, it's something that I think you have to be able to utilize that. But that's personally how I'm utilizing it. If you're interested, that's personally how I've been utilizing ChatGPT every day.
Yeah, I utilize a lot of different tools. There's a tool, it's called VizCom, right? VizCom is a design tool to where I can take, I had some old sketches and I wanted to make some shoes. And it was probably in my phone and my notebook for years. And I had uploaded that sketch and it created a 3D representation of that shoe, right? Maybe took me about 2-3 prompts to get it to almost exactly what was in my mind's eye, right? So it's like, I think years ago, I had to hire an industrial designer to try to get somebody to create that same 3D representation in 4K, right? And so it's like, I'll be using tools like that because when I want to create, was like drafts of different products that I want to have done. Now I can send this directly to designers. So I'm skipping a whole step out the process, right?
Yeah.
Whether I'm glasses, whether it's shoes, whether it's clothing, whatever it may be, right? So I usually go to thewarehouse.ai and they have a list of different AIs.
Oh yeah, that's a gem.
So if you go there, now you have like a directory that you can go through of different AIs. But this VizCom is super key. And it's allowing you to create sketch to render. So if you are in design whatsoever, I use it for that. Of course, editing, I use opus.ai. But I use multiple ones for editing, but opus.ai I've used that recently. And that has done really well. If you see the last clip that I had where I was at Revolt and I was talking about Black women and that clip went crazy, that was directly from AI. It currently has 350,000 plays and 25,000 likes. And AI told me that was going to be a good viral one. So I listened to it. I tried it out and they happen to be correct. Right now,
headlines too, in addition to, not to cut you off, but the combination of that scoring, like you talked about yesterday, with the headline makes it way easier. You used to have to pay copyrighted $3,000 for a bundle of headlines and stuff back in the day. Like ChatGPT, in terms of return, and like you said, Opus AI, Get Munch, man, those are some of the best investments I've made this year.
It's definitely been it's the number one business tool ever created in the history of humankind, right? So you got the so ChatGPT, and I'll tell you exactly how I use it. So if you're using it, you got to have the ChatGPT Plus, because I seen somebody saying ChatGPT don't have all those things you said that they do. You just don't have the version that I have, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay to play each time. I'm never that person that minds paying for a new tool because I always want to see what's the best benefit out of it, right? And this tool is way worth it. If this tool is $1,000 a month, it'll still be worth it, right? ChatGPT Plus. Now, on this, they have what you call custom instructions, right? Now, if you go to the custom instructions, it has two boxes. It says, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? So this is when you're going to tell ChatGPT who you are. You can tell it your education level if you want to. You can tell it what your goals are, who you are. So it's responding to you as you, right? So you're now customizing ChatGPT. The second one is going to be, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Now, I like when ChatGPT responds in bulletin points. I tell it to be neutral in your answers, right? I might tell it to give me a report like you're talking to an intelligence agency or James Bond. Give me different frameworks, cross-reference information, right? And make sure that you double check it so that you don't give me incorrect information. And then, of course, I have more things added to that. So therefore, when you use it, now it's going to say, hey, Mr. Keys, and it's going to directly give me information based on myself, right? Then I go to the ChatGPT. It's going to have ChatGPT 4. It has default mode. It has browse with Bing, which means it can surf the internet, right? Ian talked about some of the greatest use cases, which is your research department. So now every business has a research department if you have this tool and you use it correctly. Of course, it has plugins. These plugins can be used for amazing things. You can use it to connect to your Shopify, right? And then it can run programs. I don't have time to teach you everything that it can do, but if you start playing around with these plugins, it gets crazy. You have Dolly E3. Dolly E3 creates images for you. So at one point in time, I know all of these because you got to click to each one to like set it to different modes. At one point in time, they're all going to be one mode.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a super tool. So, you know, with Bard or Claude, I upload because they have a greater token rate because they say I think each like 3 words is like 1 token. So just to kind of understand what that means. And on Claude, they have way more tokens than you can utilize in ChatGPT, even though ChatGPT just increased it. So that means I can go on there and I can upload a damn book and it can summarize it for me. Or I can upload a summary, or not a summary, but a link to something, and it can still read that link. Right now, this is important because it decreases the amount of time. And this is my biggest thing with AI is that it's all about a wealth transfer to me, and a different type of wealth transfer, because wealth is time and resources. And so everybody's been given these time and resources, and I'm gonna keep saying it over and over. There's good, there's bad, there's ugly. I like to focus on the good. And AI as a good is giving those who have been without these resources of the big boys, even though they probably got even greater AIs now, you now have it in your hands. So go to the warehouse.ai, you know, and I will just go through these tools and I'll put in your 10,000 hours.
All right, let's switch topics, shall we? Let's talk about crypto. Before we head out. So NFTs, but I'll just tie NFTs into crypto. So crypto is something that people still kind of have a lot of reservation when it comes to crypto. But you know, think that it all plays into a bigger play as far as Web3 and NFTs and, you know, blockchain. So what's your thoughts on the future of crypto?
Future of crypto. I mean, I think it's the same thing as the future of money, period. When we did the interview on a Breakfast Club, during that time, we was coming from London, and that's what I was heavily researching is what is the future of money, right? I think that's where the conversation about crypto in itself is, right? Where's the best places to store your money? You all talked about possible World War III scenario, right? So I want to kind of take this conversation and think about 10 years from now, right? Not today, not tomorrow, 10 years from now, does cryptocurrency matter, right? 10 years from now, what's the price of gold? What's the price of Bitcoin? What's the price of Ethereum, right? Where is the dollar, right? Where's BRICS, right? That's the conversation around money because we're going into a complete digital age, right? The so-called de-dollarization, right? But we know we're specifically going to a cashless society. So whether it's a CBDC coin, right, a central bank digital coin, or whether it's a cryptocurrency, which would be kind of like the world's coin, if you will, but not to be confused with WorldCoin, which is a whole nother conversation. I think that, you know, certain cryptos like your Bitcoins and your Ethereums, those are your digital golds. I think that hasn't changed for me in 10 years, 10, 20 years down the line, because we really want to think even farther out, right? It's what is your children's money, right? And so for me, it only makes sense to diversify. Bitcoin is up 60%, right, for this year. I think it hit almost close to 34,000 because
34,000,
of
34,000. Yep.
So, you know, Bitcoin in the last 12 years has been a great trade. If whether you're going in there and you're doing, you know, daily trades, whether you're going in there and you buying it at the right time and you're holding, Bitcoin stays in the conversation and it hasn't been eliminated by no one yet, right? No matter how much and what information has came about. You talked about this yesterday, you know, Diamond of JP Morgan Chase, he said he didn't believe in it. Right? They said Warren Buffett been making money off Bitcoins indirectly in different ways. No matter what has been said about Bitcoin, there's been a way to make money off Bitcoin. right? And it has survived every conversation thus far. And if we possibly go into a World War III scenario, and also a question I have for Ian, what does that do for the Bitcoin price?
To the moon. I said it last week. Like, if we get the BlackRock approval for ETF, we'll go to 33,935. Guess what? Today, BlackRock spot Bitcoin ETF is now listed on NASDAQ trading clearing firm. 34,000. If we go to war, crypto will go to the upside. This is the part where, do you pick morality over money, or do you use the information that you have to profit off of what's happening?
Well, I think that was an interesting framework that you just put in there, because now you've made it a moral question, for a more dilemma for people. And I wasn't even looking.
I'll be honest, all investing is a moral dilemma.
I was looking at it as an asset manager way of like, what's the best way to protect your purchasing power, right? Inflation is disrespectful. Yeah. Right. We know that inflation is way higher than anybody has ever admitted that it is. Right. And so with inflation being so goddamn high, your $100 is no longer worth $100. I was just out in Wilmington, and they gas was like $3-4 out here. You know what I mean? It's like in California, it's like $8.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Right. And that's like 50%. In 2 different states, flying from one coast to the other. Yeah. Then you talk about food prices and just flying, period. So whether you was making 50,000 or 100,000, it's not worth the same anymore. Yeah. So when you have money, it's burning, right? It's melting, it's disappearing. So a person is just looking at the global landscape saying, okay, based on this situation, where should I put my money now? Based on this, where should I put it? Right. And we know in these times of uncertainty and these wars is happening, and if these commodities get locked up over wars, then the digital gold becomes the new gold. Right. I'm sure we're going to see some fluctuation in gold price, even though they continue to keep that down. So for me, the future of crypto, depends on the future of, the global economy and the new world order, if you will, and where all things go. But I can say, with a bit of certainty that it ain't going nowhere, and that everybody should be diversified and have a percentage of their portfolio, depending on what they believe their risk tolerance is for it, in cryptocurrency. Yeah.
And I will say, if you truly believe in Bitcoin, I'm not the foremost crypto expert in the world, even though I was in 2015 when Matt told me about it at Facebook. You may have 3 or 4 years before you get priced out of it. I keep saying Larry Fink is on TV. Shout out to the entire staff at BlackRock, talking this book. Now that this is going to be institutionalized, it's going to be taken away from the people, and we're going to be priced out of it, much like a lot of the property in the United States. So if you believe in it, I would say stack up on it now before it's too late, because once you get a lot of these ETFs rolling and you get a lot of more institutional buying in, you're going to get priced out until they have like fractional reserve shares that you can buy.
When you say priced out, are you referring to Bitcoin specifically, or in general?
Specifically.
To the because Keys, I posed a question in terms of the space, because I noticed you said cryptocurrency. You weren't very specific about just Bitcoin, because you don't really hear people talking about, outside of the the SEC case with XRP. We don't hear people talking about Cardano. We don't hear people talking as much about Solana and Polygon, all these other altcoins, meaning anything outside of Bitcoin. What's your thoughts around people keeping their eye and investing inside of those projects as well? Or is it still too early? We need to see the use case for those.
No, I mean, I think the use case has been shown. It's the industry that people are looking at the strength of it. I think when Ian just brought up a very good point. If people are priced out of that, they're going to look for other different, places to put that value in, right? So we still talk about Ethereum. We still talk about some of the top ones, the Ripples, the Cardonas, and things of that nature. I think that you're probably going to have a better upside on those, just percentage-wise, if you find them. And so it's the same thing of finding some of these micro ones that aren't going to be in the news, that you may have to do some investigation and some research into, whether there's some gaming ones. There's going to be a lot of interesting things. And this is where probably is a good category of research, gaming crypto, right? So let's say that whether it's NFTs or whether it's crypto, if they're naturally integrated within these gaming systems, right? And daily life. And people are utilizing this money because they're spending more time in this simulated reality, right? Then that's going to be a huge influx. The same way people have been spending, or little children have been spending your digital money in the app store. If that transfers over to a cryptocurrency, right, because their game is on a blockchain, then you're going to see an increase in money there, right? I think that it's smart to look at where nobody is looking, right?
Say that again, because that's the key investment, Jim.
It is, because you can't look at the news. We know the news is not going to tell you where to invest, right? When you're looking when nobody else is looking and that thing goes up, it becomes the news, which is more time where you make your money, right? And so for me, it's like, if you want to be serious about this thing, as he said, man, do your research. Like, it's the easy money era is not here right now, but the research money era, oh, that's upon us. And it doesn't have to be tomorrow, right? And this is why I'm telling people, slow down. Even myself with everything, like, I'm moving slower, which makes me move faster, right? Because you get to make better moves, right? I have no necessity to keep up with anybody, right? I'd rather move at my pace, because the world will constantly push you to this, and you're missing so much. So instead, this is the research era, and you have research tools at your disposal. So I would sit back, I would research, I would craft a 10-year plan. Why does it make sense that these will go up? If something changes in the world, change your plan, change your strategy, right? But I think you can right now go start looking at things that nobody is seeing, that is probably, you can scoop up for, pennies on a dollar. And if you hold those, when it is time to prop up, man, you can see yourself with a lot of money.
Yeah. Speaking of buying at the right price, Michael Saylor's Bitcoin investment strategy is down negative 54 million. Unrealized gain. So when people say that buying at the right price doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how much capital you have, bigger firm. I'm not saying that he's going to go under. Michael's actually a great ambassador and great investor, but buying at the right price.
What is he, number 3 in crypto and Bitcoin holdings?
Yeah, I believe so. He's 3 or 4. Yep.
Now, what price does he have to go to in order for him to be profitable?
They should go to ChatGPT or Bard and put the price in chat. Homework assignment time.
So
would you homework? It hit different when you do your homework.
So is that if Bitcoin goes to 40,000, what is currently MicroStrategy at? Is MicroStrategy a good buy right now for if Bitcoin goes to 40,000?
I wouldn't touch it. Not at that price. I would probably do a spread. I still like Bitcoin. If it gets back to 23,000, that's a price that I would like to load. But once it crosses 35, 36, that's not a buy area.
No, not Bitcoin, but MicroStrategy.
Oh, MicroStrategy. I wouldn't touch it. I would need to draw down more before I would want to buy into it. And I like Michael a lot as an investor. But you can buy. Let's say with Burry. Like Burry, great investor. His risk tolerance is too high for my blood. Like Michael will sit through a loss for 4 months, and he'll be right. But man, holding a drawdown and unrealized gain like that, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, him buying a lot of those times when it was 40 and 50, that's his like unwavering, undoubting belief in Bitcoin. A Bitcoin maximus, like, I would not do. I mean, his risk tolerance is he don't have a risk tolerance. It just don't exist. He just put it all in.
He just went positive.
Okay.
He has 158,000 Bitcoin. He had it at 27,000. And so today when it crossed over that 30 mark, he finally went to the green by literally like 1,500 per coin.
Oh, I might have him on high level, man.
Make sure the timing's right.
Get him now.
We gonna wait till it's way past his positive mark.
Until
it's
the
gonna be at 44,000.
When they hit 45, then there's time to sit down with him.
Until the timing's right.
All right, Keys. Well, I know you got a show in LA coming up, right? So let me know about that.
And Toronto. Tell us the lineup.
Come on, Toronto too. So listen, man, it's been a special treat being able to tour. First of all, I'm very. If there's anything that humbles me, it's touring. Right, touring being able to meet the people, greet the people, speak to the people in person, hear the testimonials. The testimonials that I get alone, man, shit, they bring tears to my eyes a lot of times, because we do a lot of this work and don't realize the impact that we're having in households and neighborhoods and the minds of people in dark places and people's businesses. It's an extreme amount of love, right? So touring to me is a labor of love. And they've been asking me to come back to the West Coast, or come to the West Coast, because we didn't get to add the West Coast on there. And they've been asking to come back to Toronto, even though we did double back-to-back shows, but we got something special for each one of those. And we got a lot of special guests lined up. I actually got 2 calls for 2 people that's supposed to be guests for the show. You know, we want to make, we are creating a new culture, new experiences and this is where culture meets consciousness, right? In this development, this journey I'm on, that you on, we are all learning together. We're all growing together, right? There is no movement unless there are people. So when I do an event and the people show up, that's to me saying that there's a movement. When you are doing an event and people show up, that's a movement. It's not a movement because you put the call out. It's a movement because the people show up. And we are in desperate need of new type of experience that represent where we want to be, right? Because yes, you can go to a concert of your favorite entertainer, and oftentimes that's to distract you from the true value of things that you should be paying attention to. But this is what I call passive learning, where you are enjoying yourself, you are being entertained, you're being invigorated, you're being inspired, right? But you're also learning at the same time, right? Because when I watch shows, and this is a thing and I want people to get, no matter what you watch, you're learning something, whether it's negative or positive, right? We are in this constant phase of distracting ourselves, taking in information. And I was thinking about this because the other day, you know, I was just sitting back and I was watching the show, and you know, I found my head kind of just bobbing to it as I was watching. I'm like, damn, when I leave and I'm done watching this information in my head has nothing to do with my reality, and it's not useful whatsoever. Right. So that was a passive distraction, right? That was taking me away from where I wanted to be. And my shows is passive education, right? And passive entertainment. Number one is inspiration. It's going to be passion there. So anyway, LA, West Coast show, Toronto, West Coast show. Ian said, Ian, can I tell them what you said you might do?
First. So let me give me 12 hours to confirm.
You know, we gotta. You know, I like to
give me. Listen, the 4 agreements must be impeccable with our word. We got to double check, right?
I asked first.
Yeah,
I don't know. My brothers over here might pop up with some of that drip. I don't know, because they always trying to outshow me on the drip, and the scorecard is definitely highly favored in my way. You know.
Wow.
Well, I'm just speaking some truth, because after I wanted to say this, after Invest Fest, y'all had to get on here and talk about drip and not mention 19 keys.
Well, the thing about that is that Invest Fest, you know, it was a lot of commentary about wardrobe and online, but you weren't mentioned in any of those commentaries. No, I'm just being honest. No, I'm just being honest.
Is this what we doing tonight?
Hold on,
hold on. Listen, Keith, you need ISO?
Hold on.
Keith, in all fairness, when we check the scoreboard, you did say we were up. I don't know how that changed. And we said last night we weren't going to take this into account.
This is an egregious, gross misinterpretation of my words and actions and or deeds. And definitely my drip report. Now, Rashad, let's address this first. What you meant to say is I was not mentioned negatively whatsoever.
Any talk is good talk. Any talk is good talk.
But now there has been great talk. I didn't have good talk. I had great talk. And you know, we had a moment, you know, backstage talking to some billionaire people and things of that nature. And it was just a whole moment about this. And sometimes I know when the expectation is always high around this drip. You know what I mean? I'm always going to step in the name of drip, and I'm always going to show up the way that I'm supposed to. So I get it. It's like Keys did that. He won again. Who has second and third place? Let's talk about them. It's over. I get it. That's one of those things, but I know
that's not even an accurate portrayal, because there have been times when you said, you know what, y'all won today. That did happen. That has happened.
Jordan didn't win every game. He didn't win every game, but he has the most rings. That's what it was about. I never said I won every game. You guys are great players. You put your best foot forward every time. I see constant improvement. You know, your percentages are way higher than they ever used to be. And I'm proud. First of all, I'll be the first to tell you every time I see you, I tell you, I'm proud, brother. You know, I'm glad to be an inspiration. But I just want to make sure that we always give credit where credit is due.
You said that everything has elevated since our partnership.
Yes, I was speaking to you all.
No, but on a serious note, I will say this. The mini movie that was on display yesterday, some of the best work that I've ever, and this is not just from in our space, in any space.
In general, yeah.
The level of creativity.
Yeah.
I mean, the clarity of the picture, the theme. My brother, that was incredible. I didn't get to tell you this last night, so I want to tell you for everybody right here.
Yeah,
that was an incredible piece of art.
For sure.
A little lengthy pause, but incredible work.
Thank you. You know, shout out to the team, man. Shout out to High Level Media. That video that you all seen, and we're gonna play that in Toronto and in LA. That's a representation where we want to take things with High Level Media, and just a representation where I want to see everything. Growing up, I didn't always get to see a representation of someone like myself in media. So a lot of times I'm always trying to create that I don't get to see, right? This partnership is a representation of that. Like, I don't get to see Black men work together enough. I had to go through bad partnerships to get to good ones.
Hey, say it again, Eddie.
We had to go through bad edits and bad things to get to the good edits and the good shows. And now we're in a much better space, right? So first of all, thank you all. Shout out to Mechi. Shout out to Jay Pusher. Shout out to the team. We put that together. Actually, took us a full day. We had to shot 2 locations. We had actors, wardrobe, everything shot from scratch. And we plan on doing a lot more and plan on working with a lot more people, doing consultancy with High Level Media and things of that nature. And we will be lacing down the secrets, because you gave some great media secrets. I think it's probably gonna be the first time why I give up some of those high level secrets of what make us so great and why we had #1 show in the world.
That's fire.
That was definitely dope, man. So get your tickets. 19 Keys will be in LA on Saturday, correct?
Yes, sir. Saturday.
And when's your Toronto show?
It's Toronto, I believe, is the 3rd. I believe it's the 3rd.
Okay, so get your tickets to LA Saturday, then Toronto on the 3rd. 19 Keys High Level tour has been ripping and running across the whole entire United States. He's on the final leg of his tour, like we're on the final leg of our tour. So make sure you see him live.
Yes.
It's going to be an experience for sure. Yep. So Keys, appreciate you, brother.
Man, appreciate y'all, man.
Give my love to the family too.
Yes, sir. Likewise, man. Hey, listen, first of all, we left out Ian. Ian, you have been doing an incredible job on the drip, man. From your journey of starting, you know, to where you are today. I know, because we don't mention Ian in the conversation.
Listen, I don't got to be mentioned as long as I say.
He started with the suits. Ian actually started. Started with suits.
Fendi.
I was going to say that. Let me
Big Fendi.
I give my brother his credit. Let me finish. You know, we've seen growth and evolution. He started off with the suits. He had the power movement going on heavy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was the ghost of investing, the St. Patrick, you feel me, of the ETFs. And we're seeing him in a higher caliber stage where he is more comfortable, right? Expressing himself, because he has entered into a new dawn, in a new age. And the relatability is not in question, right? So there are high marks that I constantly see in his evolution, his journey, right? And the people that he surrounds himself with. So I just want to make sure that when we having this conversation, because at InvestFest, you had a montage that was put together, right? That was correct in the color, hue, and the spectrum and the palettes that you put together.
Thank you.
I applaud. Right. Like, man, you know, so Troy, Rashad, relax. This is Ian moment, you know.
Thank you. We need more of these, you know what I'm saying? Boy, we talking about putting points on the board. We have another conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir. Blessed are those who share right in the gratitude that they receive. And I'm so grateful that Allah has blessed me to step in the name of drip every single time.
Step in the name of drip.
So y'all go to 19keys.com/tour. Make sure you get your tickets. I want to see you all out there. Tag me when you get your tickets. We're going to make a movement out of this. It's going to be a movie. It's going to be beautiful. I appreciate y'all fellas for having me once again. Go to thewarehouse.ai for all of the tools that we mentioned. Join the broadcast channel. Yeah, everything. Peace, family.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yo, incredible. Incredible.
This is the greatest compliment giver, but when he want to throw that shade, boy,
no, that dude is different.
It'll feel like a compliment. Then you like, wait.
Ian, turn your volume up a little bit. It sounds like your volume went a little bit lower.
Volume down?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, what about now?
Oh, now we good. Yep, we good.
All right. Okay.
Listen, if y'all want me to bring Ghost back, all I need is a little bit more appreciation in the comments. Like, we ain't gonna act like I ain't outperformed some of y'all favorite investors. It's all right. I do like I do with, whoever I used to date. You know what I mean? I don't get the appreciation. Vamanos.
Yeah, and your mini movie was incredible too. Dope.
Thank you, bro.
I told you that yesterday though, but
Yeah,
I'm telling you
told
again today.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, we at the 2-hour mark. We could talk about the intel, but I feel like next week might be a better time for it, just because of the person that we have coming on to speak
for sure
about the space.
Oh, he's coming next week.
He'll be here next week.
Oh my God! And now, listen to all y'all who make y'all a commentary. You ain't gonna say that about intel when he pull up. Benito, I told you.
Very rare when you have the leader of the world in an industry coming to speak. So everybody's in for a treat.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been impactful. Very impactful conversation today, as always.
We got a bomb coming in November too. Like
in November?
Yeah. In November, December, right? Which one?
Which one?
The one AB put in with the. We'll hold it. I ain't gonna give it away.
All
right.
Okay.
3 letters. Okay. 3 letters. We can skip it. It's all right.
Okay. Speaking of 3 letters, big week for earnings. Like I said, before we wrap, tomorrow we got Microsoft, we got Google, Visa, 3M. It's a big week. It's a big week. We got Meta on Wednesday. We got Amazon on Thursday. We got Intel, that company we just talked about, and had some news that was hurtful for the company. We'll get into that next week. Chipotle will be reporting. It's a big week.
Yeah.
4 to 5 of the big 7 will be reporting. Apple and Nvidia I think will be next week. So
you think Intel has like whole life insurance or term? Because the family going to start making some calls.
Yeah. We got to check the beneficiaries on the policy.
Shout out to Hove, man. He said he would take that. He said that and this is the last thing before we end. He said that he would suggest anybody to take $500,000 because he's already given all the information that he can provide in his lyrics. And once again, when I said that I would take the meeting, it wasn't about information. What I realized is that you're not going to gain a variety. You can't gain like a life-changing amount of information from most people in a conversation. It's the relationship.
Yeah.
To be continued. We'll follow this up next week.
You saw Ross.
Yeah, but that's what I'm going to say. Like, Jay played it so perfectly to say that. But if Jay want to give you what to do for the next 10 years, like, okay, in the last 30 years, if Jay was a founder, has anyone hit every mark that they said that they were going to hit and more? I don't know. That didn't. But if you need the 500, take it. But man, I think that 2-3 hour powwow will be a game changer.
Shout out to Jay.
Yep.
So yeah, buy my old albums.
All right. All right.
Why are you trying to discredit what you say, Shotty?
Oh no, man. Damon John tomorrow, 1:00.
Yes.
Get your tickets to Ghana. December 27th. We will be in Ghana.
Yep. Yo, man, be good. Happy. Oh, wait. Hold on. Friday is my pop's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to your dad for sure.
One of the coolest dudes that ever walked the planet. And
happy birthday to Rich.
Rich turning Big 5-0, man. Shout out to
Oh,
Rich,
happy birthday, Rich.
the whole McDonald family. Shout out to Mike. I see he's here. Mike on a run right now. He's
Yeah.
got
Legendary
1,000
run.
interviews out there. Go check them all out, man. Support our brother. That's it, man. We out of here until next week. Love is love. Check that episode out tomorrow. Ian, you got anything?
Nope. Love y'all. Thank y'all for attending the show. Stock Club Call Sunday. I'll see you guys this weekend at the Black Wealth Summit. Tune into the Damon John episode. JP Morgan event on November 4th. Check out Keys in LA and Toronto. And I'm saying it. Listen, media secret I'm learning, right? Whenever there's a little bit of conflict, I see how y'all coming with the low tone, the little Busta Rhymes slow flow. Matt did it too. I gotta add that to the bag. I'll be feeling like Queen's Flip sometime. Like, wait, I need to pipe it down. I need a signal. Can we be like, yo, power, screen, right? We're on flex when I need to bring it down real quick.
Good old Ian. All right, y'all. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Love y'all.
Love is love.
Peace.